I think Tim Pool would not be nearly as appealing as he is if there weren't a kernel of truth embedded in the things he says. Not that he is necessarily painting an accurate picture of the world, but for people who feel like the political parties, be they the Democratic or the Republican Party, aren't really serving their best interests, particularly if you're not a person of means. For people who feel like the mainstream press, a great deal of the time, does not, in fact, accurately reflect the world that they live in. For people who feel like something has gone terribly, horribly wrong with the state of the world in 2021, Tim is pinging those emotional cherries. And I don't think anyone who reacts to the world that way with a sense of deep-seated dismay and suspicion is necessarily in the wrong. I just think that the answers that Tim provides and the things that Tim believes about the way the world works are in fact quite wrong. But the things that he's touching...
I really wish that he would say what those things are. I mean, citation needed, right? What are we
You
talking
mean what
about?
would? Well, but
What are
this
the
is
things that
interesting.
Tim believes that are so off
Right.
base?
Well, it's an interesting point because, you know, this is a guy who writes for the Daily Beast and other publications, and it's true what he's saying in that if people have this sense that the institutions and that the media and that the political parties are corrupt, they're going to turn to someone who says all those things.
Yeah.
Even if that person has bad solutions for or answers for that.
Tim doesn't offer any solutions.
No,
That's
I
why
know.
I'm like,
I know.
what is he talking about here?
Right. But what I was going to say is that it's then the it's like responsibility falls on this guy's shoulders and the TYT shoulders for fixing those institutions. Like why are you castigating Tim here when the real problem is why do people feel like they can't trust the news? Maybe that's the thing you should fix. If you're so worried about independent people like Tim's, you know, coming into the picture, just fix your own news sources so that you're not lying all the time, so you're not so dishonest, so that everything's not so obviously politically biased, so that people feel like they have to turn to independent sources in the first place.
It's the Trump thing is such a perfect example of this problem because you have so many people in the media saying all Trump voters are racist. And if you're a Trump voter that is not racist, they're literally calling you a racist and you know that they're lying. So
Right.
It just immediately seems like these people don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Which that's devastating. How do you recover from that?
Yeah, I don't know.
But they buy into this. They've pretty much set up this video with that framing. Yeah. That's the framing of this video.
Mm-hmm.
Touching on, I don't think should be devalued at all. And for anyone who feels that way about the world, I'm not here to say you should not think that. You absolutely should think that. I just think that there are better sources of information that might help explain some of those feelings of dismay and questions that a person...
If the feelings of dismay are because the Daily Beast and the Young Turks has called you a racist for voting for Trump and said the only reason that you like Trump is because he's delivering you racism, why the fuck would you turn to anything else that you people say? That's the question. I mean, he's basically saying that these people feel disgruntled, and I understand that they're disgruntled because of economic issues, and maybe they are. I mean, I agree. There's a lot of economic issues for people to be disgruntled about. You know, they're out there looking for answers to these economic issues, and then they stumble upon the Young Turks who's like, yeah, there are economic problems. Let's join together. Oh, by the way, did you vote for Trump? You're a fucking racist. It's
right.
Like,
I just got into a big argument with someone about this topic around, I was saying how idiotic it was for people to call the Texas legislature the American Taliban.
Yeah. Oh,
and I was saying,
God,
as someone who thinks that the Texas anti-abortion bill is awful, is totally screwed up, the way they went about it, and is terrible, still calling it the American Taliban is ridiculous. Because when you say the word, and it's a very interesting conversation because people react so emotionally to this, and I kept trying to tell them, like, I'm talking about if you're trying to be persuasive, you're not persuading anyone.
No.
Okay. At all by using the term American Taliban. All you're doing is reinforcing your side's emotional feelings about this. And they couldn't accept that, even though all their arguments were basically them just reaffirming that, but they didn't realize it during the course of the conversation. It was a very strange conversation. And I was like, look, when you say Taliban, people have in your mind a very clear picture of what that means. They think of, the guy on the TV who's wearing kind of the Islamic garb, who's, got the gun in one hand, and they got some guy tied up with his hands behind his back with like the black bag over his head.
They got a machete in the other hand.
Yeah, they got a machete in the other hand. Or, they got the women subjugated in the burqas and, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm like, so if that's the image people have in their mind when they hear the word Taliban, and then you say, oh, in Texas, they're the American Taliban. Well, people look at what's going on in Texas and they say, well, I don't agree with that. But I know that doesn't match the visual image I already have in my mind of the Taliban over in Afghanistan. And then they immediately discredit everything you say after that. And it's just like exactly what you're saying with like, if you call everyone who supports Trump a racist, they're going to immediately discredit everything you're saying after that.
Right. Yep. Yeah. You've lost all credibility. That's what's so weird about
it. It's because as the media has learned, it's no longer a media landscape where all the media is trying to appeal as broadly as possible to as many people as possible. They're all, as Cenk was literally just complaining about, they all have their little niche viewership.
Their fiefdom.
Their little fiefdom. That's exactly how you put it. They all have their little fiefdoms, their little niche viewership that they're trying to appeal to. And thus, that's why they can get away with saying all this nonsense.
But this is why this is such the weird part of the video, is because he's making a pitch. He's saying, listen, you don't need to go to Tim Pool. We have all the answers for you here at the Daily Beast. We've been calling you racist, misogynist for 25 minutes now. But come listen to us. We'll tell you. It's like, get the fuck out of here.
How is this persuasive at all to anyone?
Get the fuck out of here.
It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
It's insane.
Yeah, that's what's so funny about it. It's like, do you not understand what you're doing? Do they not understand? If you spit in people's faces, they're not going to listen when you try to hold their hand about the economic injustice in the world. Okay.
Right.
You come off as insincere. Yeah, it's not good. Guys, get your shit together.
It's just Tavi for 25 Aussies. Thank you so much, Tavi. Says, greetings, fundraising director Adam and fundraising director Sitch. I would like some free will. Well, that's right. Here, as the directors of Free Will Coordination, me and Adam will be happy to bestow upon you 25 free units of free will for your kind, generous donation.
Now, are we directors? I kind of feel like we're presidents.
Okay, you twisted my arm. Okay, I'm now renaming our organization, or our titles in our organization. We are now the President's Coordination Directors.
There we go.
The President Coordination Directors of Free Will Coordination and Redistribution. So there you go.
Redistribution.
Maybe we should just say distribution. Redistribution has two negative terms.
What are you doing?
You're right.
You make it sound like we're taking free will from Cenk Uygur. He ain't got no free will. I'm telling you. Well, no, see,
we're taking free will from the evil elites that are controlling us. We're stealing it from them, and we're redistributing it to you, the kind folks, the real down to earth folks. Okay.
It is funny that it does seem like the more responsibility you have, the less free will you have. Because what do you mean? Because once you're locked in, you have responsibilities. Free will is over.
Right. Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Free will is over, right?
Yeah, true.
The mainstream media is broken. And politics is broken. It's not just a kernel of truth. There's tons of truth there. That isn't the question. The question is, where do you direct people after that? If you direct them to, it's black people's fault, it's George Soros's fault, it's women's fault. Well, you're taking.
So bad faith.
Wait a minute.
So bad faith.
First, not only is this insanely bad faith, but he's like, oh, if you say everything's George Soros's fault, they're literally like, oh, everything's Koch brothers funding's fault. Like, what the? What's happening? They just made this argument 2 seconds ago.
This is so not Tim Pool. This is like,
I know.
What is going on? Do you think YouTube would be a wink and a nod at Tim Pool if he was making content that was it's all black people's fault, it's all women's fault?
Of course not. Of course not.
This is so disgusting. This is so bad. And these people call themselves a news organization. What the hell? Where is the just professional courtesy? Yeah, maybe don't call me a mindless racist. So bad.
Taking something that's true and misdirecting them, or it's progressives' fault, it's the Justice Democrats' fault, or whatever. You pick a category, right? There are real answers. Like,
who the fuck are we supposed to blame for what's coming out of your mouth right now, Jank?
We're gonna blame his dumb towhead.
Tell me, who am I supposed to blame? Look,
Jank.
you go around telling everyone you're the aggressive progressive. Who am I supposed to blame? Seriously, don't you think maybe you're giving progressives a bad name when you're going around fucking bold-faced lying about people?
Adam, listen, okay. Tim Pool is dishonest because all he does is blame women and George Soros and black people. But here at the Young Turks, we blame the Koch brothers and white people and incels and misogynists. Okay, we know who the real people to blame are, Adam.
We've arrived at Crazy Town, Sitch. This is Crazy Town.
Clown world, yes.
Why do you think Tim Pool can go on his channel and credibly blame progressives? It's your actions. It is your actions, Jank. It is your actions, Anna. Oh my God, these people. Take some responsibility. I hate the fact that that's considered right wing.
Yep.
There was a time when progressives knew about taking some responsibility too, right?
True.